Hello everyone, welcome. My name is Misery, and this is Inside the Mind of a Masters Terran player. We're looking at a Terran versus Zerg matchup today, and we're going to be going over another loss, and we're going to be looking at specifically what I could have done better. And now that we are set to go, let's get right into it. So, Terran versus Zerg, I typically play the same almost every game. I'll open up with the Reaper Scout and then the Hellion and Liberator follow-up to try and do a little bit of damage and to kind of just keep map control for as long as I can before there's lots of queens and zerglings on the map. So it's a pretty standard opening. It's very solid. I think I've gone over this in the last Zerg video, so it's very standard, very good, and it leads into a pretty good bio follow-up. So what I'd like to do is to follow up with multiple medevac drops and then gear up for a big 2-2 timing push. So in this game, it doesn't go all according to plan. We'll see why and try and explain what's going through my head, why I'm doing what I'm doing. So pretty easy start off. We're going racks and then gas. Get our Reaper out so I can scout. And there's a couple of things we're looking for when we scout. First thing we're going to look for, we're going to SCV scout at 20 as soon as this barracks is done. And this job of this SCV is just to make sure that this hatch finishes on time. So if the hatch is finished, perfect. That means you went hatch first and we're safe. Maybe we can get a block off on the third base. And then the Reaper will just, head over this way and help back up the SCV if he's blocking it. So there he goes. He sees the hatch finish and down he goes. And if anything else was different, if the hatch wasn't finished and we saw that it was pool first, our build's gonna change a little bit. The Reaper might stay at home. I might look to see if there's a roach warren building, but when we see this hatch finishing, this is all good for me. So this is actually, ooh, I missed that drone. Almost get a drone, that would have been nice. So I want to see if he gets the other forward third and if he builds a roach warren. That's kind of the job of this Reaper. So he is going to get in. While I'm at home, I'm building my factory, my second gas, and my reactor. And there we go. We see that he's got the forward third base. So this SCV comes home. And now we're just getting prepared for our Hellion follow-up. So this base is going to finish. We're going to switch these, start our starport, I should say. So the follow-up here. So now we're going for 6 Hellions and a Liberator. The Liberator will be queued up to go into the main base to try and do a little bit of damage, and then hopefully we can save it, fly it to the airspace, and the Hellions will try to keep creep under control at the front. And if he doesn't build enough Zerglings or enough queens, we can maybe have an opportunity to dive into the main or into the natural to try and get drones. But the Hellions, I shouldn't try to dive them unless I see a very clear opportunity. But I play Terran, I like to YOLO my units, so sometimes that happens. Now, usually I won't leave. A lot of pros will leave with their first 2 Hellions and their Reaper just to keep things even more under control on the Zerg side of the map. I don't like to do it because at my rank, which is around 4,500 right now on the North America server, a lot of Zerg players will build like a pack of 10 Zerglings, 10 to 15 Zerglings, and as soon as they see with this Overlord the first 2 Hellions moving out, they'll just run in with the 10 Zerglings, and it creates a big mess in your base if they're able to snipe the Marines. So I just wait until I have the 6 Hellions and then I move out. It's not as efficient. As you can see, he's getting creep out to where he wants. So he's got his bases all connected. He's got good creep spray. He's got queens out in the front. So it's gonna be difficult for these Hellions to do a whole lot, but that way at least I'm safe. We get 1 tumor for a Hellion, which isn't great, but we're not gonna get killed by any sort of run by. So here we go. The Reaper and the Hellions are gonna move around to the natural, maybe get a good shot off on the Lings. And as soon as I see the Lings coming, I shouldn't try to move in on this, but this is all good distraction for the Liberator. So now the Liberator is gonna set up in the main. The Hellions and the Reaper can kind of just do their thing. And at home, we'll pause it right here. At home, we're going for 3-1-1, 2 extra barracks. Stim is almost done. Medevacs are going to be on the way pretty soon, and a tank to keep us safe at home, along with 2 NG bays and then 2 more gas geysers. So those should all be queuing up right now because I've got the money for it. There they are. These are still alive. Liberator getting 2 kills, not bad. Disrupting the mining, pretty good go right there. This is a good opening so far. We haven't really lost anything, and we've caused the Zerg to be uncomfortable. So let's see, these Hellions, they might be able to do a little bit something else. No, not quite. So they get a decent shot off on the Zerglings. Looks like I'm gonna lose them here, but not a terrible trade. Could have been a lot better. The potential is here to kill a lot of drones. So that would be, I guess, our first mistake. I guess our second mistake is creating a Reaper here by accident. But 1-1 is on the way. The next phase would be dropping. So you want to get 2 medevacs with 16 Marines and drop just outside the creep range and start clearing creep with the first drop. I like to clear creep with the first drop, and then the second drop I like to move in to the natural or the main base to try and do some economic damage so that he can't just push and defend at both. He's got to do both sides, and it's quite a long ways from out where his creep is to go back to his main base. So it's nice that the Liberator is still being annoying, even though it's not really getting kills, but still kind of handy. While this is happening, we're taking our third base. As soon as we have money, we want our extra barracks to go down and 1 more factory, as well as our armory. The armory's already started, so the next factory should be coming up pretty soon, and that way we can get ready for our big 2-2 push. Around the point that we're dropping, we should also be considering dropping a scan to try and find out what the Zerg tech is. So he's got a Spire going. I don't know about it yet. If we're going Spire, we have a pretty big difference in how we play this out. If I know that there's a Spire, I'm only going to go in, kill 1 or 2 creep tumors, and then back off very quickly so I don't lose the drop. The Reaper actually is fortunate enough to see it. So the Accidental Reaper getting work done, but I don't believe that I actually clicked on that Spire. So even though I should have seen it, I don't think I actually saw it, which is a little bit unfortunate. So here we go, is what I'm talking about. The first 2 drop ships going out to kill creep tumors. Should be going out to kill creep tumors. Please drop. Please drop. Yes. And at home, we're trying not to get to supply blocked. We're trying to create as many units as possible, because around 9 minutes or 9 minutes and 30 seconds, we should have close to max supply for our big push if all has gone according to plan. Am I perfect? No. So it's probably going to be more like 10:30 when we push out. So far, no major supply blocks that I've seen. I'm actually way over supply here, so we could have more units. And the second dropship these 2 should have been moved out a little while ago to the main base. I haven't seen any mutas on the map yet, so I should be dropping in the main, or I should have been dropping in the main by now. So that's a little bit of a mistake. I could have done better. Getting these creep tumors is very nice. We haven't lost any Marines yet, so it's going to force him to bring all the queens out and do this. It'll be nice post-patch when Hellions actually do really well against creep tumors. I'll be less likely to dive my Hellions in. So getting a couple queens is... oh, 1 queen. That's alright. As long as I don't lose any of the Marines or the medevacs. This is where we get caught off guard, so... not knowing his tech, I needed to scan earlier. I definitely needed to scan about 30 seconds ago to see if he was going mutas. So now we're going to be in this kind of awkward situation where I have no missile turrets, and the only anti-air is the few Marines at my base. I'm going to lose track of this drop and not able to pick them up. That hurts. But a drop in the main doing alright. These guys are almost killing the extra hatchery, so that's kind of nice. And killing a lot of drones now, so this drop, now that I know he's gone mutas, is pretty much dead. It'd be nice if we can save it, but I don't think I'm going to save it. After it did very well, actually. Yeah, once the lings come, you know, I'm not even dropping them. So even though we killed a lot of workers at his main, he caused us a lot of issues in our bases, so my supply isn't where it should be. Where am I at? I'm at 160 at the 10-minute mark. I should be around 190, and I wasn't supply blocked ever, so that just comes from me missing some macro cycles, trying to focus on the drop play. This is by no means an easy build to accomplish, but you know, 2-2 at 10:30, not a bad timing if I'm maxed out. But because I'm not maxed out, this is actually gonna be very scary. So I need to be very well split to deal with this many units. He has a lot of Ling Bane. He's also got a few mutas to clean up tanks, so I don't want to be too eager with pushing up because of the good creep spread. But here we go, he's gonna move in, and pretty okay for me. I didn't stim though, so that's the mistake of this engagement, is I didn't stim until way late, and now all the tanks are dead. So what could have been really good for me, if I go back, that engagement could have been very good for me had I stimmed earlier. We'll go back a little bit even further here. So he's gonna move around. I'm getting some units for free. I'm clearing some creep. The tanks are spread out very well. I'm not gonna say very well, but they're spread out enough that if I stim, I think I do a lot more damage to these units. He's only got +1 armor, and these guys are getting a lot of shots off, but they could be getting a lot more done. So not stimming there is the biggest mistake of this game so far. It's gonna allow my opponent to really be safe, because now this push is done and I have to try and move into the next phase of the game, which would be adding more barracks, getting a 4th base, and prepping for hive tech. Now I don't have any way to really deal with a lot of muta harass, and I've lost a lot of tanks, so it's gonna be difficult to secure a 4th base, and I'm pretty late with the 4th base, so I'm getting the extra barracks to prepare for the hive tech transition, which will probably be Ultralisk. It's more often than not Ultralisk when they open muta like this, but it's gonna be very difficult now that he has the extra gas income. Now these mutas are gonna become a lot more of a problem. One missile turret at each base is not gonna be able to keep me safe. So here we go. Hold up. So right here, I decided to push out, and the reason being is that I assumed that he didn't remake the Banelings. It's a bad assumption to make, and I only have 2 siege tanks. So this is a follow-up push because I feel like I'm behind and I need to damage him. I'm doing this because I feel like I know he has another base either here or up here. So this push probably shouldn't be happening. Instead, I should be just kind of sitting back and waiting to secure, maybe trying a drop at one of these locations to the north or the south, but not moving across with my entire army like this. I shouldn't be doing this with just 2 tanks, because all it's going to take is 20 or so banelings, and I'm not going to be able to kill them all with this amount of units, and then the mutas are going to do a lot of damage back at home. So I should be trying to secure the 4th base more than moving and then dropping instead of doing this push out. So we'll see in a minute just how easily this is gonna get crushed, because again, we only have 2 siege tanks and no upgrades with the siege tanks. So well, not a bad split. At least we get a couple of free shots off, but now he's got mutas in my base. I have to deal with that. He has a lot of banelings here, and this is more than enough for him. He doesn't need this many to clear up this amount of marines. There are good tank positions here on either side of this wall, and now there's a couple more tanks. This push isn't totally doomed, but the mutas are doing enough damage at home and I accidentally picked up some units in this medevac, so he's got enough here where he should be able to get a full surround and clean this up. So here he goes for that full surround, and not having those marines hurts a little bit, but he just has so much that there's no way I'm going to be able to fight there. So that was just a bad move out by my part, and now it's going to be even harder to secure that 4th base now, because he's picking off these units. He's probably going to pick off some of the medevacs with the Mutalisk, or no, he's going to the south with the Mutalisk. So it's just going to make it very difficult to secure this base, because now where I had a lot of marines, I would have been able to kill all these Zerglings. Now I only have a small handful of marines, and Now it's just gonna be very difficult from here. I needed to be more patient and just secure the fourth base. Even though my opponent's gonna be on, you know, 5-6 hatcheries, he's not mining from this one. He's not mining from this one. He's realistically on a 4-base Zerg, and it's not unreasonable for me to think that I can win the game from 4 bases once I start adding, you know, more tanks and marauders and, you know, any things that can combat the hive units. Right now he hasn't made the hive transition yet, so had I not pushed earlier, I definitely could have been in a better position on 4-base economy. Now, you know, I'm 50 supply behind. I'm behind economically. You know, we've thrown away, at this point we've thrown away too many units to win the game. So, you know, even though we got that idea now, is I want to, you know, be defensive and take the fourth base, but we should have done this about 3 minutes ago. When the first push failed, this is what I should have been working towards. And then maybe, you know, if I want to try and do damage, sending off one dropship, you know, keeping it in dead space maybe while and then drop it once I see the mutas somewhere on my side of the map. That would have been probably more ideal. But now we get to the fun part where lots of banelings are going to roll into my mineral lines, and mutas are on they're not on a mission yet to kill my other mineral lines, but you can see how my economy is, my already not so great economy is going to take a big hit here. And he actually doesn't care about these 3 missile turrets. He's going to get a couple of free tanks. Well, not really free, but may as well be free at this point, because I only kill 1 or 2 mutas, and now we need more tanks to deal with banelings, but I don't have them, and the income is not there. So everything kind of going downhill from here. And this is all as a result from that second push. So now he's getting his hive tech. I am down economically. I don't have a way to deal with the mutalisks still, because, or at least not effectively. And now I'm trying another ill-fated push. So it's a nice catch there. We get 1 ultralisk, but I'm pushing in the same direction. So this is, I do this a lot, I've noticed, as I lose a fight somewhere, and then I go back and I try to fight again. I try to fight in this same choke point, and I don't even have tanks with this push. This is an ill-fated and bad decision that I'm making, because I know that my economy is not doing well, because I know this got hit really bad. I have no money here. I have no money here. This has been hit a couple of times by the mutalisk, and, you know, at least we got it up and running, but there's no 5th base in my future. Maybe if I lift this up over here, but all it's going to take is some Zerglings to come and get it. And now my opponent is mining from all of his bases. He's got hive units. We have very few marauders and a couple of Thors with no upgrades, so, well, the Thors have +1, but this is just a bad attack when I know that I'm behind and I'm just kind of panicking. So here we go. We're gonna get sandwiched in this choke. Oh my god, the humanity. And now the mutas to clean up the medevacs too. That was bad. Hurt my heart a little bit. So now we're dead. The mutas are gonna clean up a lot of medevacs, and Thors are not great against ultralisk. You know, this base is gonna get, you know, I'm gonna micro my heart out, as I do most of my games. But the game it's over at this point. You know, I'm down, actually I'm only down 50 supply, which isn't horrible when you think about it, how much supply ultralisk costs. But I have no way to deal with these mutas. My income is so much lower. His bank is at 3k, 2k. You know, he can remax on pretty much whatever he wants. He's working for Greater Spire Tech, and he's killing add-ons and just kind of playing with his food at this point. So things I could have done better were not pushing the second time, dropping instead, getting my 4th base secured a little bit faster, and working towards, you know, if the first push fails, you know, just get that 4th base secured and then go from there. Then I can work on transitioning into the late game. Even though my opponent will be on 5-6 bases, I can try and turtle up maybe and get to that point myself while dropping and killing, you know, dealing with the mutalisks a little bit better, getting some liberators or ghosts or something to deal with the big boys, those big chunky boys. This game is actually going longer than I expected, yeah. So, because I'm trying to get a 5th base here, but you can see how he's just crushing SCVs with these mutas, not really caring that he's losing a couple, because he's got all these boys in the middle of the map. He's getting ready for the big push again. And now, like, I've got some tools to deal with some of the Ultralisk, but I can't deal with it from both sides. You know, he's taking some inefficient trades, but even with him trading inefficiently, because of his bank and because of how low my bank is, it doesn't even matter that he's, you know, inefficiently trading at this point. He just has so much money compared to my very little money and killing all my workers. Yeah. I got a GG soon, right? No, this goes on for 30 more seconds. So what are we thinking about here? I'm thinking, oh, I'm fucked. Let's go across the map and lose all of our units before we leave the game, I guess. As most Terrans do. I have to cross the map before I leave the game. Here we go. Let's go. Back to this choke point again. Hello, darkness. Hello, choke point, my old friend. I've come to suicide my units again. And there it is. GG. So, few things to work on. Mostly patience. Making sure that I secure those bases. And when a push fails, don't panic. That 2-2 timing push is not everything. You know, it's not the end of the world when that fails. So, some things to keep in mind. And hope you guys learn a thing or two here too. And I will see you on the ladder. Cheers.